Is up, rock and metal fans? Hope all of you are doing well and everybody is safe. Okay, right. I gotta admit that a lot of guys were really pushing me to do this one. Now, you guys might say, well, wow, do you really get that many people writing in comments and all that? But I'll be honest, in this particular case, it just so happened that there were certain friends of mine who were also big, crazy rock and metal nuts like me, and they immediately said that, whoa, 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 wait a minute, you've got all of this stuff going on, where the hell is Bon Jovi in this? And just to add, one of them was one of the guys who had actually urged me to do the Deep Purple one, which I had even mentioned to you about a short while ago. So it's not that I'm trying to skip bands, it's just that I'm trying to add to it based on, I mean, it's a little random in some cases. Sometimes I have a sort of a structure in place. But anyway, Bon Jovi was always going to be on this. I mean, even them, Van Halen. So look out for that. That's definitely going to come. Rainbow is another one that's coming up soon. Dio, and all of that. So I can't wait to get to those. But there was a lot of urge, so I decided, okay, what the heck, might as well get down to Bon Jovi. So Bon Jovi, one of the biggest bands on the planet. John Bon Jovi is the poster child for, well, according to a lot of people, all things to do with rock and mainstream rock and glam rock and all of that. And I will say that Bon Jovi is a band that has a very similar sound and appeal, just like another band that you guys know I love to death, which is Def Leppard. There are many similarities, but Bon Jovi stands in its own right and has done phenomenally well. Obviously, I'm, like many fans, deeply sad that Blackmore, my God, Richie Sambora. My apologies, guys. It's a little late. Richie Sambora is not in this band anymore, but I really do hope that one day he does come back. I think most fans would want to see that. So, anyway, just getting down to it, I want to talk about the three records that people can actually listen to. And I definitely would pick, and I have three very specific ones in mind. So let's get to it. So the first one obviously would have to be Slippery When Wet. It's considered one of the band's most iconic records. It's really what put them on the map. It really is what, changed the game for them and, made them into a household name. I think the song Living on a Prayer is the pinnacle of what this album really means, followed by a close second, which is You Give Love a Bad Name. And, excuse me, a third song on this would obviously be Wanted Dead or Alive. And overall, I think it's a great album. There's definitely an album that, summarizes in a great way as to what the 1980s was all about, the sound, the style, and all of that. And for a lot of us, it's a sound and style that we miss. But we're still grateful for the fact that you have so many bands that are still, alive and kicking and doing great stuff today. So Slippery When Wet would be the first one. So please do check this album out. Great stuff. Now, what would I choose as the next one? I choose this one. New Jersey. I think this was a record that really took things up to a whole nother level for the band. It really, redefined their sound in many ways. It really elevated their music. Obviously, my favorite track off this record has to be Bad Medicine. It's a song that you can just keep on a continuous loop and just enjoy. And it's got some pretty interesting, types of feels to it, like, Stick to Your Guns. Then obviously the famous ballad, I'll Be There For You. Blood on Blood, Homebound Train, Wild is the Wind, Ride Cowboy Ride, and so on, So I think it's just a solid, rock solid, no pun intended in this case, but just a rock solid album straight through. So definitely something that I enjoyed when I first heard it, and I think it's an album that still holds up very well today. So it was actually the album that came straight after Slippery When Wet, so you get a good sense of what the sound of Bon Jovi is over here. Now, as a final record, as my top three, I would have to pick this one. And this is really the album that I would dub as my favorite album from Bon Jovi. Raw, gritty, very diverse, really, going into different directions in terms of musical themes and song styles, and even the way in which I would say that in particular you had David Bryan playing on this album. I think that to me is something that really stands out quite a bit as to the way in which his influence on this record is there, especially when you hear him on certain tracks. But I think overall that the band really, did a lot in terms of, really experimenting with different types of sounds, trying to make it a little more current. Because obviously, when this album came out, it was the height of grunge and alternative rock and so on. But I think that it's an album that really holds up well, and I know a lot of guys really gravitate to this album in a big way. And it's definitely the album that I would consider to be my favorite Bon Jovi album. So it has great tracks, and obviously my favorite track would be Something for the Pain. You have songs like These Days, Lie to Me. I especially like this song called Something to Believe in. If That's What It Takes is another great track. My Guitar Lies Bleeding in My Arms. Very interesting vocal style by Bon Jovi himself. And even if you hear some of the bonus tracks, which is All I Want Is Everything and Bitter Wine in particular, I think that's a very strong track as well to definitely try and check out. A lot of texture, a lot of layers to it. I think definitely a lot of maturity. I think the most interesting song, which is a bit, I wouldn't call it controversial, but something that stands out in a big way is the song Hey God, which is the album opener. I mean, that's like, whoa, you wouldn't expect that kind of a track from, a band like Bon Jovi. But hey, definitely something that is, something that, is pretty thought provoking in a certain sense and all that. So, those are my thoughts, guys. That's what I would think would be the albums to check out from Bon Jovi. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Love to hear from you. Thank you so much to all the guys who have written in, and all the guys, who have been giving me a big thumbs up and encouraging this series and sharing the videos and so on. I really, really appreciate it. Oddly enough, I think this would be my no, I think this is the 19th video, 19th installment in the series. I could be wrong, but definitely look out for way more. I definitely will be adding to this. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what other bands you want me to cover. And I look forward to talking to you soon. So take care, guys. Rock on and have a good one. Bye.